Chosen one, stop for a moment. Do not scroll past this, because what you are about to hear was not placed in your path by an algorithm. It was dispatched from the throne room of God, and it is going to speak directly into something you have been carrying quietly, something you have not said out loud, not fully, not even to the people closest to you. Heaven stopped everything right now to reach you. Do not leave until the end. Something was working against this message reaching you. You may have scrolled past something like this before. You may have felt the pull and kept going anyway, but you are here now, and that return, that pull that brought you back was not random. That was heaven saying, now you are ready now. My beloved child, what I am about to tell you is going to change the way you see something that has confused you, embarrassed you, or made you question yourself more times than you want to admit. The age gap, the difference in years between you and the person your heart keeps returning to. The connection that made sense in your spirit before it made sense in your mind. The one you wondered about in the quiet, the one you almost talked yourself out of. Heaven has something to say about that, and it is not what the world has been telling you type. I will not apologize for what God designed. My beloved child, I know what you have carried around this. I know the moment someone found out and their face changed. I know the comment that was meant to be casual but landed like a verdict. I know the night you lay awake going through the math, the years, the difference. What people would say, what it would look like from the outside, and somewhere in that calculation you started to feel small, like maybe the whole thing was a mistake, like maybe your heart had gotten it wrong again. Heaven wants you to hear this clearly. Your heart did not get it wrong. Heaven put that knowing there. The confusion was never about the years. The confusion was about trying to make a divine design fit inside a human framework that was never built to hold it. And when you try to squeeze something eternal into something temporal, it will always feel uncomfortable. Not because it is wrong, because it is bigger than the container you are trying to put it in. Type what heaven designed does not need the world's approval. My beloved child, let me tell you something that the world will never say out loud. Age is a human measurement of time, but God does not match souls based on time. God matches souls based on assignment. God matches souls based on what one carries that the other needs, based on what one has survived that the other is about to face, based on the kind of love that does not just feel good but actually transforms, the kind that makes both people more of who they were always supposed to be. That is not a romantic fantasy, that is scripture. As it is written in Ecclesiastes 3:11, He has made everything beautiful in its time, not in the world's time, not in the timeline that cultural expectations built. In His time, and His time does not operate on the same calendar you have been judging yourself against. My beloved child, I want to ask you something, and I want you to sit with it honestly. When you are with this person, or when you imagine being with them fully, without the weight of what everyone else would think, do you feel less than, or do you feel more like yourself than you have in years? Do you feel like you are doing something wrong? Or do you feel like something that was locked inside you finally has space to breathe? Heaven already knows your answer. Heaven built that answer into you before you were born. Type the peace I feel is proof enough. My beloved child, I have to speak now to the fear, because I know it is there. Not just the fear of what people will say, though. That fear is real, and I am not going to dismiss it. But the deeper fear, the one underneath that, the one that sounds like, what if I am wrong about this person? What if I am just fooling myself? What if the connection I feel is real, but the timing is impossible? What if I open myself to this and I end up looking like a fool? That fear has a name, and its name is every previous time you trusted your heart and someone proved you wrong. My beloved child, hear this. The fear you are carrying is not a sign that this connection is unsafe. The fear you are carrying is the residue of wounds that came before this person. Wounds that taught you to distrust your own discernment. Wounds that made you negotiate with your own heart before it was allowed to feel anything. You learned that from somewhere, and what you learned was wrong. Your discernment is not broken. It was never broken. It was just buried under the evidence of people who were not worthy of it. This person is different, and your spirit already knows that. The question is whether you are going to trust your spirit. Type, my discernment was never broken. It was preserved. My beloved child, I want to tell you something about the age gap that no one around you is saying. The gap in years between you and this person is not a flaw in the design. It is the design. Heaven did not make a mistake and then ask you to overcome it. Heaven built the difference in seasons specifically because of what each of you carries. You carry wisdom that comes only from having lived through things. You carry a steadiness, a depth, a foundation that cannot be manufactured and cannot be rushed. You carry the kind of presence that makes someone feel like the ground beneath them is solid. You have been through enough to know the difference between what is real and what is performance, between what is love and what is just the feeling of being needed. That knowledge is not common, and it is exactly what this younger soul needs at their side. And they, my beloved child, listen carefully, they carry something you lost while surviving. They carry a freshness of spirit, a courage that has not yet been worn down by too many closed doors, a joy that has not yet learned to protect itself. They carry an openness to receive that the years have made harder for you. They carry the ability to see you, not the version of you that history and hardship built, but the version of you that was there before the armor went on, the version that you yourself have almost forgotten. Together, my beloved child, you do not create an imbalance. You create a completion. Type, we were designed to complete each other, not match each other. My beloved child, I need to say something now about what heaven has recorded concerning this connection, because this is not the first time heaven has been involved in this story. Long before this person came into your life, long before you had words for what you were feeling, heaven was already at work. Heaven recorded the season when you almost settled for something that would have made this connection impossible. The moment you almost said yes to the wrong person because you were tired of waiting, heaven recorded that. And heaven kept you, not by force but by grace, by making something in you resist what was wrong for you, even when wrong felt easier than waiting. Heaven recorded the prayers you prayed that you thought were about someone else. The ones that said, God, send me someone who sees me, someone who does not need me to make myself small, someone whose presence makes me feel like I can finally breathe. You thought those prayers had no face yet, but heaven already knew whose face they belonged to. Heaven recorded every time you talked yourself out of this, every time the voice of the world was louder than the voice of your spirit, every time you closed the door on what you felt because the math seemed wrong. Heaven was patient through all of it, because heaven knew that you would arrive here, and heaven knew that when you arrived, you would be ready in a way you were not before. The record does not lie, and the record says this was always the plan. Type, heaven was working on this before I understood it. My beloved child, let me speak now to the people in your life who do not understand this. The ones whose faces changed, the ones who said something that felt like a verdict. I want to speak to them through you, because you are the one who has to carry their opinions in your body. They are not wrong to love you. They are not wrong to want to protect you, but they are wrong about this. And here is why. The framework they are using to evaluate your connection is built entirely on what is socially expected, what looks right from the outside, what matches the patterns they were taught, what would cause the least amount of friction in a room full of people who do not know your story. That framework was never designed to hold a divine appointment. It was designed to manage appearances, and God does not work in appearances. God works in souls. The people who question this connection have not felt what you felt when you are in the presence of this person. They have not heard the conversations. They have not sat inside the quiet that falls between you, that does not feel like awkwardness, but feels like rest. They are judging a cover without having read a single page. And my beloved child, you do not owe them the book. You only owe God faithfulness to what He placed in your heart. Type, I owe God faithfulness, not the world an explanation. My beloved child, before we continue, I want to pause here, because someone watching this right now is not only carrying this for themselves, they are carrying it for someone in their circle who is in the same situation, someone who found a connection that defies easy explanation and is being told by everyone around them to walk away from it, someone who is about to let fear and outside pressure make the decision that was never theirs to make. If that name is on your heart right now, if you can see their face, I want you to do something for them. Plant a seed here, not as a donation, as your enlistment in the same kind of warfare that was fought on your behalf, because someone once stood in the gap for you. Someone once prayed into your story before you even knew it was a story worth praying for. Someone once sowed faith into a future you could not yet see. And here you are on the other side of that intercession, receiving this word. Now it is your turn. Visit the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen. Plant a seed in the name of the person on your heart, as an act of faith that says the God who is making a way for me is also making a way for them. And this seed is my agreement with that movement. My beloved child. Let me continue now, because there is something I have not yet said that needs to be said. You have been asking the wrong question about this connection. The question you have been asking is this acceptable? Is this something I am allowed to have? Will this survive what other people think about it? And my beloved child, that question will never give you peace, because that question is not yours to answer. That question belongs to a court that was never given jurisdiction over your life. The question heaven is asking you is different. Heaven is asking, do you trust what I placed in you? Do you trust the discernment I gave you? Do you trust that when I said I know the plans I have for you, plans for a future and a hope, as it is written in Jeremiah 29:11, that I meant it, even when those plans do not fit the template the world handed you? That is the only question that matters, and heaven is waiting for your answer. My beloved child, I want to tell you what this connection is going to do in your life, not just in your heart, though your heart is going to heal in ways you stopped expecting, but in your actual life, your actual days. You are going to start moving differently, because when you are no longer spending energy managing the loneliness, defending your worth, or performing okayness for people who do not see you, that energy goes somewhere. It goes into what you were built to do. The ideas that went quiet start to come back. The version of yourself that you put in storage because it was too much for certain people, that version starts to surface again. And it turns out that version is exactly who this younger soul sees when they look at you. Not a project, not a burden, not someone who needs to be managed. Someone with a fire in them that the world has not been able to put out. And that fire, my beloved child, that is where the financial shift begins. Not from some outside source arriving without reason, but from a person finally operating at their full capacity because they are no longer carrying the weight of being unseen. The right partnership removes the friction, and when the friction is removed, what was always in you starts to move. And money follows what moves in anointing. Type the friction is being removed, and I am ready to move, my beloved child. I want to go deeper now, because what I am about to say is not just about you and this person. It is about something larger. It is about what happens after you. You did not arrive at this moment from nowhere. You arrived carrying a line, a history, a pattern of how love was done and what it cost and who got to matter, and who was asked to wait and who learned that needing things was dangerous. That pattern was handed to you before you had the words to refuse it, and for years you carried it because you did not know you were allowed to put it down. This connection is where you put it down. The younger person coming toward you is not just your blessing. They are the evidence that the pattern ends here, that someone in your line decided that love does not have to look the way it always looked, that the years between two people are not a reason to deny what is real, that the world's approval is not the prerequisite for God's permission. And what you decide here, what you choose to honor, and what you choose to release will travel forward into every person who watches how you love, into every conversation about relationships that happens in your presence, into the children and the young people who are silently learning from what you do with the very thing you are holding right now. As it is written in Psalm 112:2, their children will be mighty in the land, the generation of the upright will be blessed. The blessing travels forward when the pattern breaks, and you are breaking the pattern right now. Type what I choose here travels into every generation after me. My beloved child, I want to speak to the version of you that almost did not stay for this message. The version that started scrolling. The version that said this is probably not for me. The version that almost let the doubt win one more time. I am glad you stayed, because what I am about to say in the next few moments was written for the person who stayed, for the one who felt the pull, and did not ignore it. For the one who is tired of explaining themselves and is ready to simply receive what heaven says is true. Heaven says this is not a mistake. Heaven says the years are not a problem. Heaven says the person you feel this for was not placed in your path by accident, by weakness, or by confusion. They were placed there by design, by a God who does not match people based on what looks clean from the outside, but on what is needed on the inside, on what one soul carries that another soul requires, on what love, when it is real, actually does, which is not make things easy, but make things true. And this, my beloved child, is true, my beloved child. I need to warn you now about what is coming next, because heaven does not warn those it does not love. In the next few days, something will rise up to test what you received in this message. It may come as a voice, someone close to you who says something that lands wrong, that reopens the wound, that makes the doubt feel reasonable again. It may come as a feeling, a sudden heaviness in the night, a loss of the warmth you felt while you were here, a question that sounds very reasonable but is designed to make you retreat. It may come as an event, something in your circumstances that seems to argue against everything you just received. Do not be afraid. Do not take that resistance as evidence that this word was wrong. The resistance is confirmation that this word was right. The enemy does not counter what is empty. The enemy counters what is real, and a counter only comes when something worth countering has been released. Hold what you received here. It is yours. Heaven sealed it over your life before you pressed play on this video, and no phone call, no comment, no feeling that passes in the night can unseal what heaven has sealed, my beloved child, because you stayed until this point, because you did not scroll, because you chose to be still when everything around you was moving. Heaven is releasing something specific into this moment that was held in reserve for the ones who remained. Most people will not make it to these words. You did. That was not an accident. That was already decided before you pressed play. And what follows in your coming days was already prepared for the person who remained for you. My beloved child, before this message closes, there is one more thing I am asking of you. Plant a seed here, not as a donation, as the first act of the generation that decided to break the chain. What you release here travels forward into the child, who will not have to hide what they feel, into the heart, that will not be told that their love needs to look a certain way to be valid, into the person who will be born into a line where someone you decided that God's design is enough, even when the world disagrees. You have spent enough of your life asking for permission to be who you are. This seed is your declaration that the asking stops here, that what travels forward from this moment is a different kind of inheritance, one built on trust, on divine appointment, on the courage to receive what heaven prepared without requiring the world's blessing first. Visit the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen. Sow that seed today. Every seed sown in faith is seen by the one who holds your future, and every seed that breaks a chain is recorded permanently in the record that does not expire. My beloved child, as this message comes to its close, I want you to speak something aloud. Let your mouth agree with what heaven has already declared over your life. Say with me, I receive the connection that was designed before I understood it. I release the shame that was never mine to carry. I release the need for the world's approval over what God approved first. I declare that the age between us is not a flaw. It is the design. I declare that what I feel is not confusion. It is confirmation. I declare that what begins in my life now travels forward, and what travels forward is freedom. I am chosen, I am aligned, and I am not apologizing for what God built. My beloved child, go in peace. Go in the certainty that what heaven designs, heaven defends. Go knowing that the record has your name on it and the record does not expire. Type I receive this, and I am done apologizing for what God designed. If this message reached the place in you that needed it, type I receive it in the comments right now. Not as a hope, as a declaration, as your yes to what heaven has already said. Yes to, type it and mean it. Heaven reads every word. Go in peace, go in purpose, and go in the full authority of someone who knows that God does not make mistakes, not even the ones that look like they do not fit the template. Your alignment is already unfolding, my beloved child. I want to go back to something because I moved past it too quickly, and your heart needs to sit in it longer. The moment someone's face changed when they found out. I want to name that moment specifically because I know you are still carrying it. You were not imagining it. Their expression really did shift, something that was open closed. And in that closing, something in you closed too. Not all the way, but enough. Enough to make you start running the numbers again. Enough to make you wonder if what you felt was real or just something you had manufactured out of loneliness. My beloved child, hear this. That person's reaction was not a revelation about your situation. It was a revelation about their framework, and their framework was not built on your story. It was built on what they were taught to expect, what fits, what is safe, what causes the least disruption in the social order they were raised inside. You walked up against the edge of that framework, and their face showed you where the boundary was. But my beloved child, their boundary is not your boundary. Their comfort is not your calling. The one whose face changed loves you. I am not asking you to dismiss that, but love and understanding are not always the same thing, and you do not need someone to understand what God is doing in your life in order for God to continue doing it. You only need to stay in agreement with heaven. Heaven's opinion of this connection does not change based on the faces in the room. Type their face does not change heaven's answer. My beloved child, I want to speak now to the younger person in this connection because they are listening too. Maybe not to this video, but their spirit is in this somehow. The way spirits are connected before conversations catch up, and I want heaven to speak through this moment into them as well. To the younger one, my beloved child, I see what you carry too. I see the courage it took to feel what you felt for someone who the world might look at and say that does not make sense. I see the moments you talked yourself down, talked yourself out of it, tried to find a more acceptable version of what your heart was telling you. I see the times you wondered if the depth of what you felt was real or just admiration, attachment, something you could explain away. It was not something you could explain away. Heaven put it there. You are not drawn to this person because you are lacking something. You are drawn to this person because God placed in them exactly what your spirit was designed to recognize: the stability, the depth, the kind of presence that does not perform, that simply is. The kind of love that does not ask you to be smaller, that calls you to be larger. That is not something you manufactured, that is something heaven engineered, and you were not wrong to feel it. My beloved child, you too are not a mistake that needs correcting. You are an assignment that heaven is completing. Type this connection was engineered, not imagined. My beloved child, let me now speak about what I see coming in the practical dimension of your lives, because heaven is not only concerned with your heart, heaven is concerned with your whole life, your finances, your stability, your sense of purpose, the actual circumstances you wake up inside every morning. What I see coming is this. As the weight of hiding this lifts, as the energy you have been spending on managing everyone else's reaction to your life becomes available for other things, you are going to notice that your creativity comes back first. Things that felt stuck will start to move. Projects you abandoned because you did not have the bandwidth will start to feel possible again. Conversations that matter will happen. Doors that were shut will have reasons to be opened. And my beloved child, this is important. You are going to start attracting what you were always meant to attract, not based on who you pretended to be to keep the peace, but based on who you actually are. When you stop negotiating with yourself about what you are allowed to want, the world stops being able to negotiate with you about what you are allowed to have. That is not wishful thinking. That is the spiritual law of alignment. When the inside and the outside match, the blessing has a clear address to arrive at. Your inside and your outside are about to match. My beloved child, I want to tell you about 3 specific shifts that are approaching. The first is a conversation you have been avoiding, or one that has been avoiding you. It is going to happen, and it is going to clear something that has been sitting in the air between you and this connection for a long time. The words are going to land differently than you expect, and afterward, you are going to feel lighter in a way that surprises you. Do not plan what you are going to say. Let what needs to be said find you. Heaven has already prepared the ground for that conversation to bear fruit. The second is a confirmation, something external, something you will see or hear or encounter in your ordinary day that is going to feel like heaven whispering. Yes, you will know it when it happens because it will arrive with that particular feeling of recognition that does not need explanation. That confirmation is not coincidence. It is heaven responding to the yes you said in this moment. The third is a shift in how you see yourself. My beloved child, this is the one that changes everything else. You have been seeing yourself through the lens of how this connection makes you look to other people. And that lens makes you smaller than you are. The shift that is coming is a return to seeing yourself the way heaven sees you, which is not as someone who needs to justify their heart, but as someone whose heart was shaped by God and given to exactly the right person at exactly the right time. When that shift happens in how you see yourself, everything else shifts with it. Type I am ready for all three of these shifts. My beloved child, I have been speaking this whole time about what heaven says about this connection, but I want to pause now and ask you something different. Not what heaven says, but what you know. In the place where you are most honest with yourself. In the place that does not have an audience and does not need to perform anything for anyone. What do you know about this person? Not what you hope. Not what you want to be true. What do you actually know from having been in their presence? From having seen who they are when things are difficult? From having seen what they do with their own pain? From having watched them choose in moments when choosing was hard? If what you know matches what heaven has been describing, if what you know is depth, is character, is a kind of love that does not take you apart, but puts you together, then, my beloved child, you already have your answer. You have had it for longer than you have been willing to say so. Heaven is not asking you to leap into something unknown. Heaven is asking you to trust something you already know. There is a difference. A leap is faith without information. This is trust. Trust is faith with information. You have the information. Heaven is asking you to act on it. My beloved child, I want to come back to the record, because I said earlier that heaven recorded everything. And I want to be more specific about something. Heaven did not only record your prayers and your struggles and your faithful mornings. Heaven recorded this specific thing every moment you felt something for this person and did not say it. Every time you saw something in them that moved you and you closed the door on what you felt before it could become a thought. Every conversation you replayed afterward. Every time you asked God, is this real? And then did not wait for the answer because the answer felt too large. Heaven recorded all of that. And heaven kept the answer safe until you were ready to receive it. The answer that was kept safe. The answer that was sealed until this exact moment. That answer is yes. What you felt was real. What you feel is real. And what is coming is the fullness of what the reality of this connection was always meant to produce in your life. My beloved child, do not leave this message without carrying that with you. Yes, it was real. It is real, and heaven says it is time. Type heaven kept the answer safe until I was ready. My beloved child, there is one more thing I want to say before the closing prayer, and it is something I have not said in exactly this way yet. The age gap is not something God overlooked when he was designing this connection. The age gap is not a flaw that love is going to have to overcome. The age gap is the mechanism. It is the specific thing through which both of you receive what the other was designed to carry. Without the years you carry, you would not have the foundation that makes this person feel safe. Without the freshness they carry, you would not have the renewal that your spirit has been craving. The gap is not the space between you. The gap is the space where what you each carry meets what the other needs. It is the precise distance required for the exchange to happen, and God measured it exactly. There is a reason that in Scripture the most transformative relationships, the ones that changed the trajectory of families, nations, histories, rarely followed the expected pattern. Ruth and Naomi, David and Jonathan. The disciples chosen were not the expected age, the expected background, the expected fit. God does not choose based on what fits the expected pattern. God chooses based on what will carry the most weight, what will last, what will matter beyond the room it started in. Your connection will matter beyond the room it started in. It was designed for that. My beloved child, I want you to receive this fully before you leave, not half-heartedly, not with the part of you that still wants permission from the faces that changed fully, from the part of you that already knows. from the part of you that felt the recognition before the resistance had time to arrive. That part of you is the truest part. That part of you is the part heaven speaks to. And heaven is speaking now. This connection is not a detour. It is the destination. This love is not a mistake to survive. It is a design to inhabit. This person was not placed in your path by accident. They were positioned there by the same God who said, "I know the plans I have for you, plans for a future and a hope." This is a part of those plans, and you do not have to understand all of it. You only have to stay open enough to receive it. Type, "This is not a detour. This is where I was always going." My beloved child, as we close this sacred message, let your spirit rest in this truth. Heaven does not design things that need to be apologized for. Heaven does not place longing in a heart as a joke or a trap. Heaven does not engineer a connection and then ask you to dismantle it because the years do not match the template someone else was handed. What heaven designs, heaven defends. And what heaven defends cannot be dismantled by opinion, by judgment, or by the discomfort of people who have never been inside your story. If your heart is ready to receive this fully, I want you to speak it aloud right now. Let the words leave your mouth and enter the air and become a declaration that heaven records. Say with me, "I receive the connection that was designed for me before I understood it. I release the shame that was handed to me by people who were not given jurisdiction over my heart. I release the need to make what God approved fit into a framework that was never built to hold it. I declare that the age between us is not a flaw. It is the mechanism through which what I carry and what they carry finds its meeting place. I declare that what I felt was real, what I feel is real, and what is coming is the fullness of what was always meant to be. I declare that what I choose here travels forward into every generation, every relationship, every person who watches me love the way heaven taught me to. I am chosen. I am aligned. I am no longer asking for permission, my beloved child. Go in peace. Go in the certainty of someone whose heart was right all along and just needed heaven to confirm it out loud. Type, "I receive this. I am chosen. I am aligned. And I am done asking for permission." Go in peace. Go in purpose. And go in the full authority of someone who knows that God does not make mistakes. Your alignment is already unfolding. Your record is complete, and heaven is moving. My beloved child, I want to go even deeper before the closing, because there is something I have been building toward that I have not yet said in full. You have been asking whether this connection is acceptable. But heaven has been asking you a different question altogether. Heaven has been asking, are you willing to be someone whose life does not fit the expected pattern? Are you willing to carry something that not everyone around you will understand? Are you willing to be the person in your family, in your circle, in your generation who looked at what heaven placed in front of them and said yes, even when yes was the harder answer? Because, my beloved child, that is the actual ask. Not, is this love real? You already know the answer to that. The ask is, are you willing to live according to what is real, even when what is real makes certain rooms uncomfortable? The answer to that question is not a small thing. The answer to that question is the difference between a life lived at full capacity and a life lived in permanent negotiation with the expectations of people who were not given the assignment you were given. And I want to be honest with you about what each choice looks like. The choice to step back from this because of what other people will say will not feel like loss right away. It will feel like relief. That is how that choice always feels in the first few weeks, like you put something down that was heavy. But my beloved child, what you will notice, 6 months from now, a year from now, is that the weight came back. It just changed shapes, because what you put down was not the burden. What you put down was the blessing. And the absence of a blessing always eventually makes itself known. The choice to step into this fully, to stop negotiating, to stop asking for permission, to let your yes mean yes will not feel like relief right away either. It will feel exposed. It will feel uncertain. There will be moments when the discomfort of being seen choosing something unconventional will make you wonder if you made a mistake. But underneath that discomfort, my beloved child, something else will be growing. A stability, a rightness, a sense that you are finally living in the story you were actually written for, not the one you were handed by default. Heaven is not asking you to choose the comfortable path. Heaven is asking you to choose the true one. Type, I choose the true path, not the comfortable one. My beloved child, I want to tell you what love looks like inside this connection, not in the romantic language that songs use, in the real language, the daily language. It looks like being known without performing. It looks like a conversation that starts in the middle, not at the beginning, because so much is already understood and still goes somewhere new. It looks like silence that does not need to be filled. It looks like your past being named without being weaponized. It looks like your strength being honored, not competed with. It looks like your softer places being seen and protected, not exploited or dismissed. It looks like waking up in the morning and not having to decide who to be that day, because who you are is already accepted fully, without the parts you usually hide, without the editing that you have learned to do before you let people see you. It looks like the person you have been managing your presentation for years. For most of your adult life finally not being in the room, because the person in the room already knows and already chose you knowing. My beloved child, that is not a fantasy. That is a description. And your spirit already recognizes it because your spirit has been waiting for it. This is what heaven prepared the age gap to make possible. The years you carry make you someone who can receive that level of being known without running from it. The depth they carry makes them someone who wants to give that level of knowing without using it as leverage. The combination your seasons and their spirit is what makes the thing I just described possible. Not despite the gap through it. Type, I recognize what heaven is describing. I have been waiting for this. My beloved child, I want to speak one final time to the record, because the record is important, and I do not want you to leave here without understanding what it means for what comes next. The record that heaven kept of your faithfulness, of your prayers, your patience, your choice to remain open even when being closed would have been easier. That record is not sitting in some distant place, waiting to be retrieved eventually. That record is active. That record is speaking right now, and what it is speaking into your life is not just comfort and not just confirmation. It is authority, my beloved child. The years you spent being faithful in ways that no one witnessed, they gave you something, not just character authority. The kind of authority that comes from having survived things that were designed to destroy you and choosing softness anyway. The kind of authority that comes from having been betrayed and choosing to trust again. The kind that comes from having prayed into silence and not stopped praying. That is not small. That is the thing that makes what you say carry weight in rooms you have not yet entered. That is the thing that makes your presence in this connection not a liability but a gift, a specific, rare, irreplaceable gift. The younger soul being aligned with you will feel that authority the moment they are in your presence, not as pressure, as peace. As this person has been somewhere, this person has seen something. This person is not going to be undone by the things that have undone others. Being near this person makes me feel like the ground is solid. That is your authority they are feeling. And that authority was built in the seasons you thought were wasting you. Nothing was wasted. The record proves it. Every single thing was being turned into something that was needed for exactly this. My beloved child, the record does not lie. And the record says it is time. The preparation is complete. The alignment is confirmed. The connection is real. The gap is the design. And you are ready. Not because you have everything figured out. Not because all the fear is gone. Not because the faces that changed have changed back. You are ready because heaven says you are ready. And heaven has been watching you long enough to know. Go forward, receive this. Let it land. Let it be true, and do not apologize for what God built.